Yeah, this is a really good run.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, it's slightly easier. Oh, sorry. Anyways, we're off.
Oh, wow, here we go.
Yeah. So, Flashman stage, there's not too much going on here.
We got good
Basically,
music.
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Flashman. At this point in the game, we don't have any rush ability, so it's just run and gun.
Yeah, the big focus for the start of this run is just collecting all the items that you're going to be using to move fast in the rest of the stages. So, like, it's nice that Flash takes 2 damage from Buster.
Yes.
And so do, like, the rest of these bosses that are guarding items, because the items make the game significantly faster.
Yeah, that's kind of just a common thing in Mega Man games. The items in them are always quite useful. So even though there is technically easier routes to do, like for example, grabbing Metal Man as a general casual strat.
Yeah. So here, the Flashlight's pretty interesting. So every time Flash is on the ground and you shoot him, he'll jump. And so, and then he'll flash after he's spent a certain amount of time walking on the ground. So the key is to just keep him always jumping and not walking so much, which is really difficult when you have to get 14 hits in.
Yes. But when it's done perfectly, like on Streamline side, it looks really cool. DNA did get 1 flash, but then finished up the fight shortly after. Another key thing that you'll see in this run is damage boosted. It's basically, a lot of the time, our runners will intentionally run into an enemy or through an enemy because it's faster than taking the time to kill it. And that'll happen a few times on bosses as well, where just taking damage from whatever they're doing is just faster.
Yeah, for sure. So in the heat stage, there's one little cool thing that you're going to see, hopefully, towards the end of this first screen, where they're going to throw an item 3, come back, and then jump onto the item 3 in order to skip a little bit of platforming. You see Streamline going for it here. Beautiful.
Yeah,
it
really
saves
nice.
like 2 seconds. So it's like a very small thing, but it's one of the coolest things in this whole stage.
The item usage in Mega Man 2 is definitely, I think, like the one of the big. Oh, and Streamline having a little bit of issue with the first zip in the run.
Yeah. So basically what you're trying to do here is you stand on the item and you let it push you up into the ceiling, and when that happens, I guess, like, the game doesn't check to see if Mega Man is colliding with the ceiling, so it just lets him go into the ceiling, and then once you're inside the walls, then you can zip at incredible speed.
And this is basically a thing. I think you can technically do it on pretty much any screen. Is that correct? You can zip in pretty much any wall. It's just whether or not it's useful.
Yeah, you have to have, like, a corner to set yourself up on. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty unrestricted.
And we've seen that quite a lot throughout the run. So even...
All right.
Oh yeah, here's Heat Man.
So here's the Heat Man fight. So every time you hit Heat Man, he'll go invincible for 30, 60, or 90 frames and then dash at you. You're going to want to see lots of 30s and not so many 90s. I guess Streamline took some damage here, so he won't be doing the more dangerous strat that involves staying close and doing buffer jumps to, like, catch the 30, 60, 90 patterns. But he's through anyways. He-Man does 8 damage on contact, so you can only take, like, 3 hits even from full HP, and you never get here with full HP, so...
And with that down, we're getting another item.
Yeah. Item 1, arguably the most useful item in the entire game. This is going to be the main, like, weapon that you use to set up zips in the rest of the stages. But there's not going to be any zips in Airman stage. Instead, you might get to see some very interesting and dangerous platforming over this open air section.
Yeah, this is quite a slow area normally, but when you have the items, you can skip over quite a bit of it. Using Flash there to basically stop what is considered one of the harder sections of the robot stages, which are these giant heads. Getting over it, and then it's going to use item 1 to basically skip the sort of auto scroller here, using damage boosts along the way. Yeah, and this part is extremely difficult actually, because obviously damage boosting, you're going to get knocked back, so you have to time it pretty well since you're still on the platform, so you can use item 1.
Alright, Mr. DNA through the open air section, but he didn't quite get the deboost that he wanted, so he switches back to Buster in order to kill the eggs and not take any more damage. Which is a pretty decent move, although it does, like, cost time, because menus are pretty expensive time-wise in this game, and as in most classic Mega Man games.
And using and obviously there is, as this is a NES, sprite limits are thin, so sometimes, say when there's too many things on the screen, enemies will just kind of not show up, especially with those egg bombs. And it gets through it pretty cleanly for Mr. DNA, and StreamLine had a really clean fight. Airman being somewhat simple, although the RNG involved with his wind can be quite annoying.
Alright. Mr. DNA got kind of lucky. He got a pattern that would allow him to take only 2 hits through this first phase of Airman instead of 3. Like, if you get 3 undodgeables and you're only at 12 HP or less, then you are in for a bad time unless you can get a sufficiently quick kill.
Yeah, and he actually, that's a really good pattern. He basically didn't have to move and could just keep shooting. Using crazy zips, actually, here from StreamLine.
Yeah, this is an interesting zip. So, like, you zip way past where it looks like you are on screen, right? And so, but your apparent screen still controls what scrolling behaviors you can have, right? So you have to get yourself to a place where you can actually scroll the screen in the proper way, or sometimes not scroll the screen in the proper way, as you saw Streamline do towards the end of that zip, so that he would take a death, which would put him at the checkpoint. So,
yeah, so the way that zips and screen scrolls work in most NES games, not even just Mega Man games, basically what you're seeing here is they are shooting themselves off screen onto a completely different screen. And what they're doing is they're moving through the screen that the game thinks they're on. It's still displaying the screen they originated on, or sometimes not, in case of where they do that double zip. So they are basically doing blind platforming throughout it, which can be pretty interesting.
yeah. So this is a relatively new way to do the clash fight. It's basically just baiting him over to the left, and then trying to react to the pattern rather than, like, just shooting into the middle and hoping to get the right jump height.
Crasherman taking an absurd amount of damage from the tornado. As this is actually the first boss that we have their weakness for, since we are collecting the 3 items first.
Streamline's picking up a backup 1-up. I wonder if this means he's going to be doing dog scrolls in wood. There's like, you always have to think about, like, do you take a safety 1-up, do you not?
Yep.
Because there's some situations in which a death and not gaming over would be good, and then there's other situations in which a death and gaming over would be preferable. So you always have to think about, like, what's the thing that you're most likely to die on in a race situation, and then hedge against that.
Yeah, and for that, basically, basically what we mean is that the die-in in this game will set you back to a checkpoint, but will not refill anything. But if you game over, it sets you to the start of the stage, but you get all of your ammo back. So there are benefits to both.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, Mr. DNA gonna try and set up this first zip here. Goes for a pretty safe setup, albeit one that like loses a little bit of time because you're waiting on that item one a little bit longer. So next up, he's gonna have to flash to avoid the lasers, and then he also has to, he's on the wrong screen, but like eventually he won't be able to progress until he's on the correct screen. So he had to screen wrap back once there in order to progress correctly. All right, and again, taking a very safe setup on this second zip. So in this case, I don't know, like this second zip, it doesn't save all that much time. So if you're going to be setting it up extremely...
And there's a middleman zip. That strategy for Quickman is actually really good. Mr. DNA pulling that off really well. Are you still there, Colonel Fatso? Hey, and in Metalman stage, you can zip through quite a lot of it, although the zips are somewhat. And they're not too, they are not too difficult, and they save, as you can see there, a lot of time, because those conveyor belts are very slow. Now with Crashman, we are just going to use the quick boomerangs, and clean them up very quickly.
Okay, I'm back. I had a little bit of an internet outage there for a second.
I was wondering what was going on there. Okay, good to see you back. Both runners zipped pretty cleanly throughout Metalman stage, so no big issues. Obviously, the Metalman fight being probably the easiest fight in the game. Now, Woodman has a lot of zips, a lot of screen scrolls, and it looks like, yeah, he is going for the dog zip.
Oh, he overzipped, so he's going to have to take a death here, which is unfortunate. But that's, again, that's why you pick up the 1-up if you're going to be doing this. There you can see he abused heat to cancel the death sound, which puts him immediately back at the checkpoint. So now he's going to just try the normal stage-ending zip here. Mr. DNA doing a slightly different route. He's going to be doing bubble before wood. But they'll sync up at the end of robots, so it won't be too bad.
Also, in Metalman games, no matter how divergent your route is, you'll always end up at the same point in the end. There we go, and as you can see, that zip completely skipped the outdoor section of Woodman's area.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's one of the bigger time saves in terms of, like, those death zips that you can have.
And just damage boosting through, damage boosting straight through, and killing Woodman very quickly with the win.
Oh. Mr. DNA is going to be deboosting through all of these frogs, which is... It's not a conventional strat, but it seems to have worked out fine for him. We have double outdoor bubble man action going on right now.
No.
I can't see a thing.
Yeah, that's a traditional.
Oh no!
Oh,
Streamline took an unfortunate tumble there.
Oh, and it's a game over.
It's a game over, which, like, the only thing this means is that it's the same as picking up an extra life, basically, elsewhere in the stage, or sorry, elsewhere in the run. So it means that some deaths that he could take in the castles will be made less bad, and some that he could take will be made worse.
Yes. So basically, at some point we may want to game over to get our ammo back, which might mean that he needs to take an extra death. But depending on the route that he's taking, that won't really matter too much. Zipping through Bubble Man here for him. Yeah, outdoor Bubble Man stage, notorious for its lay. If you were in a 4-man race of this, the screen would essentially be unreadable at that point.
Streamline's trying to set up the item 2 zip here. This is a really tricky zip to set up.
Yeah.
You have to, like... It's either a frame-perfect setup or 2-frame setup, I think, depending on which way you were facing.
You get through it eventually. Is that your idea of Mr. DNA a chance to catch up? This is being a rough Bubble Man stage.
Yeah, so Mr. DNA is still, like, enjoying... Sorry, I guess Streamline is enjoying. Mr. DNA is still suffering, like, a deficit of several seconds here. Maybe half a stage at most.
And gets the death zip.
It's, like, not bad.
I mean, we're just getting into the Wily stages, so...
Yeah, there's many things that can happen in the rest of this game to even things up or even turn them around.
Oh, Purple Death. Do you not know any mercy?
Yeah, there's no mercy in Wily 4, man. There's none.
But we are about to start Wily 1, which is a lot of people's favorite stage in the entire Placid series. If only for this music.
I confess, I think that some of the Robot Masters are much better than any of the Wily themes in this game, but...
I think so too, but man, do people love this song.
Yeah. Yeah, it's roughly 30-35 seconds difference between them, maybe. Which is very, like... It's the opposite of insurmountable in this game. Like, there's so many different mistakes that you can make and lose 30 seconds in this game, man.
And, like, I mean, I've seen good runners run out of crash ammo during the Purple Death fight.
Yeah. Alright, so Streamline's gonna be trying to set up this second vertical zip here. Looks like he's nailed it. And, subtle little bit there, you actually have to swap weapons, or, like, in other way, reset your animation state, in order to get the second half of that zip. Otherwise, you're just gonna get stuck and have to climb up the rest of the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see some dragon mashing. So the key here is you don't hug the dragon, because the dragon's hug is lethal. Alright, Mr. DNA is going to be trying to set it up. Oh, he's too far right. Took a fall. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, item count is a very significant thing to think about in this castle stages. You don't get item refills. between stages, you have to pick them up in the field. And so there's a couple that are kind of in the way that you'll pick up. But other than that, you don't really have any replacement items. So if you miss something like the open air section there in Wily 1, then you're going to be in trouble unless you can find an alternative source for more item ones.
That was a really clean zip in Wily 2 for Streamline. The spiked area in this has always been a little freaky, especially say if you played Men 1.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Mr. DNA having no difficulty dispatching the dragon either, so he'll be moving into Wily 2. And yeah, as suspected, he's going to be taking the item 1 pickup at the beginning of the stage, which will leave him in good stead. He has... Oh, he saved his item 2, so he doesn't even need to do the zip here. Actually, I think it's like a little bit faster if you use item 2 here rather than doing the zip.
Yeah, it's also far less dangerous because you are not able, you do not have damage boost state for the end part of that stage there. Grabs a bunch of little power-ups there, get in. And Streamline is now done with Wily 2, moving on to Wily 3.
It's actually, Mr. DNA did a really cool thing where you can actually buffer, like, grabbing the ladder and letting go from the previous screen in that screen transition. Mm-hmm. It's really neat because, like, it's just an example of interacting with something that's not even on the screen. And basically what that does is it resets his vertical momentum and lets him kind of coast into the little hole there without having to go, like, touch the ground at all. It's, I don't know, there's not much to talk about on screen right now.
Yeah, it's
Pico Pico Fight is basically an auto-scroller, and then so is Wily 3.
The Wily 3 is not what you would call exciting. It is the calm before the storm, though, for a runner. Even casually, I think, because man, is Wily 4 annoying. Don't worry, kids. If you had trouble with Wily 4 when you were 2, or when you were 5, so do we when we're 20. Yeah, with that lull out of the way, we are headed into Wily 4, the Purple Death, as it's so aptly named. There is a lot of tricks here, a lot of item usage. One of the most annoying bosses in the entire franchise, if it can even be called a boss.
Yeah, I would say it's a boss. I'd say that, like, it is the boss of Mega Man 2, to be perfectly honest. So, watch for the item 3 usage here from Streamline. There's a lot of, like, instant item 3 placements where you just, like, press A and B and you're instantly on the platform, which are very tricky. There's only, like, 3 to 4 pixels per tile, so like 3 to 4 pixels out of every 16 where you can do that and actually instantly land on it. So it's not a trivial thing to do. And then the doing the little mini zip by getting sufficiently high above screen boundaries in in the screen before the checkpoint there.
Getting through the damage boost area.
Oh!
I feel really bad about that.
Yeah. Okay, so his item count is really bad right now. There's some alternative strats, I guess, that you can do. in order to conserve item 1s later, but this is not looking ideal. It looks like he's got some item 3 left, which I think he'll be using here in this section.
Yeah, no, using...
Yeah, okay. So now... He has exact ammo for the zip at the end of this stage. But he's got to wait a little bit on this platform, because he doesn't have an item 1 to spare. Okay, well, he got the setup, and he got the trigger, and he's in the door. Alright, so if you overzip there, you have to die, and then it's a bad time.
Yeah, because I don't think you spawn in the boss respawn, right?
No. You spawn back at the checkpoint again. And in that case, he'd be, like, pretty much screwed. That looks a little low. Oh, never mind, I'm wrong.
Oh,
alright, that was a beautiful boom fight.
Yeah, that was... Wow, that really recovered after... I was a little bit worried there.
Mr. DNA showing off some cool alternative strats, using an item 2 to get across there instead of an item 1. And here he's going to be setting up the zip nice and safe. I wonder if he's got enough time, though. Yeah, okay.
That's actually something I've noticed from Mr. DNA. He might not be getting the zips as fast, but he gets them, and I mean, that's what matters, honestly.
Yeah. Ooh! Mr. DNA exited the wall a little bit early there, and got hit by the top left cannon of Boom Beam there, which knocks him down to the ground, which is not what you want.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he was actually still in the fight.
Yeah. We kind of lost his feed for a couple seconds there, which made it look like maybe he'd overzipped, but looks fine. He did not get this... What? Okay, never mind. Forget I said anything. It didn't look like he got the damage transfer set up. Basically, you just have to take damage at in specific ways, and it sets up the correct memory values for you to get a damage transfer in certain positions.
Yeah, that trick makes that fight significantly easier. But both of our runners are both on this both on the refights, so both runners running exceptionally well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like StreamLine's still enjoying about a half stage lead here. And he's going to be doing Wily Machine next. He's got both crash bombs, so hopefully, unless there's a miss, it should be a pretty straightforward fight. Good first phase. Good second phase. Alright.
There he goes. Really well done fight there.
In position to still get a 28, barely, I think.
Yeah, everything after Bomb Bomb is not as awful as you'd think. Using Buster instead of Grass on Airman.
Yeah, I think that's leftover strat from normal, possibly. Because I think that if you're playing Mega Man 2 normal, normally you won't.
This is true. That's accurate. I just used Buster there, so just odd to see it in this tournament.
Alright, so here's Alien Fight. It takes 1 damage from Bubble and has its health refilled by every other weapon. So you have to mash 28 shots in.
I actually didn't know what the health refill
quite
from
get
every
it
other
by the
weapon.
time the alien crosses back to the center, but
The alien fight, not super difficult, but with that we have a 29-14 from Streamline taking this match. So this is the first game. And
alright, so Mr. DNA is successfully into the second part of Machine Fight. It's kind of not ideal for a machine to be so far back when you start the second phase of that fight, because it means you're probably going to take a hit before you can get the multiple hits on Crash Bomb, because you need Wily to be moving backwards.
Yeah, both these runners did fantastic, honestly. And the fact that Mr. DNA, I mean, his time is a low 30, and that's pretty much what he got here. So both these runners ran at about what you'd expect, and I'm sure that neither of them are unhappy with this first match here. And we almost saw Streamline have a catastrophic end to Wily 4 there. Like, that would have, if that had happened, if he had run out of item there, he would have lost a lot of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is a dangerous game. Like, pretty much everywhere, especially, though, in Wily 1 and then 4, 5, and 6. Alright. Mr. DNA finishing up with a 30-51. And so Streamline taking the first win, but obviously there's still at least one and possibly two more chances for DNA to clutch it out.
Yeah, and unfortunately with that, I will be heading off. I was just helping with the first one. Good luck to our runners, and thank you very much for the co-commentary, Colonel Fatso.
Of course.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Alright, so as we're waiting for runners to get ready for this second match, I don't really know what to say. I prefer nothing but net, Suzo. Alright, hopefully we should be starting this second round real quick. And so Mr. DNA going to be looking for revenge on that run, and Streamline going to be hoping to improve his previous run as well. Yeah, that's exactly right, Kyle. All right, here we go. Both racers heading into Flashman. Again, not much to talk about. There's just a couple little things in the stage. I guess number one, you want to jump down into this hole in order to take a hit from the shot instead of the shot man. It's just like a minor frame savings if you manage to hit the shot, because you get knocked back a little bit less. And then number 2 is going to be coming up on like the second to last screen, third to last screen, where you want to jump through the tin can pieces instead of taking a hit. There we go. StreamLine showing off a beautiful tin can jump. Mr. DNA not far behind him, also performing very well. And then the last thing, obviously, is the flashlight itself, which is very complex and very difficult for me to explain because I'm not that great. So from this stage, we'll be getting 2 very important items. Number 1 is Flash, which freezes enemies on screen and lets you do some areas in a much safer way. Beautiful fight on Flash from StreamLine there. Mr. DNA taking a Flash pattern, I think probably in a deliberate move. It looks like that's just his strat there, to take a Flash. So the second item that you're going to be getting from Flash is item 3, which lets you climb up walls a little bit faster, and also lets you set up a zip in Heatman stage.
Hey.
Hey, what's going on?
I thought you would want a little bit of help.
I'll take all the help I can get. This is Cassio. He'll be joining a commentary for this second and potentially third match.
So this first screen of Heatman stage, it's pretty straightforward. You just jump and shoot the guys are in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Use the item 3.
Yeah, that's a it's a really cool shot, but it's not that hard to set up, especially if you get the pause at the correct point. Then you can just like jump, and it's buffered for you.
Yeah. StreamLine having some problems with the zip, allowing Mr. DNA to close in.
That's another one of those precise like item 3 placements where you have like 3 or 4 pixels in order of leeway to place that item so that you can instantly land on it. Here, the Yokus. So this is like a subtle bit of speed tech here. The Yoku blocks here, they only start their like spawn timers when you scroll them on screen. So the further right you get on screen, the faster the next block is going to go. So if you're staying far back, then you're actually compounding your time loss.
Yeah, you gotta be at the right side and try to jump as soon as possible. It's not really easy to optimize. It ends up killing you a lot of times when you're still learning.
Yeah. So StreamLine's got some HP, so he's going to be doing the buffer jumps against heat. Oops. So there you can see he stays close, then never mind. Now he no longer has like 10 plus HP, so he's not going to be doing that.
Yeah,
but basically, what you saw him trying to do there was he would stay close, right? And then he would try to do buffer jumps, like little jumps that kind of wiggle back and forth at 30, 60, and 90 frames in order to reduce the amount of time that heat spends dashing at you in that invincible state.
As simple as that sounds, it's really hard to do it. And risky, because if you mess up, you're you're timing a little bit, you get hit.
Yeah.
Basically that.
Yeah, and basically, typically you will get to the heat fight only able to take one body hit and additionally one flame hit. So it's not a good look if you if you try that and get owned.
Yeah. Even more because heat fight is a kind of slow fight since it's cycle based. If you end up dying by the end of the fight, you lost a lot of time.
Alright, Streamline is through fast air with no difficulties. Mr. DNA proceeding fine. Takes a deliberate deboost against the last enemy. Like, normally you want to try and skip damage from that enemy, but he seems to be doing fine.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of sketchy to land on the corner of that platform, so if you're not feeling safe about it, taking the deboost is very safe. It shouldn't make you fall.
Mm-hmm. So the upshot of this is that DNA now has only... Oh, now he's got enough HP.
Oh, okay. That's lucky. It's not the Shoka farm.
Shoka showed us how to properly farm the end of this stage in the HDQ practice room.
He showed us for like 15 minutes. I don't know.
All right, Streamline got a decent air pattern, and Mr. DNA is going to be hoping for the same. But unlike the first match, now he's pretty much safe. Like, he can take as much damage as he wants in this first cycle, and probably not gonna die.
Okay. Both runners survived. This is good.
Okay, so the item 2 is a nice item. It lets you move a little bit faster through certain screens just because it's faster than walking. And it'll also be used for vertical boosts in some situations, and in one case, potentially on Streamline's side to set up a zip.
Streamline just missed the Biggie setup, but he got the second screen setup for the Clashman zip.
Yeah, I guess that's something I didn't talk about in the previous race, is there's two ways to normally set up this zip. There's a method on the first screen and a method on the second screen. The method on the first screen is much faster, but much more difficult and carries some extra risks.
Yeah, the way he failed it, he didn't lose a lot of time. He just kind of didn't spawn one of his items. So you could notice it and just go for the second screen zip. But you can fail it in ways that you lose a little bit more time. Great climb from
Streamline. Given a clinic on this item 3 climb, getting all of those instant placements.
Also going for all of them. You cannot go for some of them and not lose a lot of time. It's safer. It's probably more consistent. Oh, he kind of messed up the fight.
Yeah, that's a really difficult way to do that fight.
Yeah, it's really reaction based. So if for some reason you can't react fast enough, it's not gonna go well. It's usually no big deal since Clashman fight is a 3-hit fight anyway.
Mr. DNA showing off the more standard method of doing that fight.
Yeah, with hoping for a long jump. And then Streamline getting the quick and first zip setup really well.
Yeah.
He actually uses the same setup as I do.
There's
From the
about
ground.
1 million ways.
Yeah.
Like, practically every runner that you look at is going to have a different way to set up that quick zip.
It's really not set in stone what you should do here.
I think
You
Mr.
only know-
TNA using his a little bit safer setup there, giving himself lots of time to get in position.
Oh, Streamline tried to go for the frame perfect trigger for the second zip, but he ended up falling because he was a little bit too early.
Oh man,
He's
missed
having
crash
a-
bombs on this fight.
Oh my
Ooh.
god! Oh no!
Oh no! So he's gonna have to buster the rest of this fight, and
Oh, this
he's
possibly-
down his 1-up as well. So
Yeah.
like he collected the 1-up in order to do Dogs Girls presumably, but I guess he might end up just doing Flash instead.
And this might put Mr. DNA ahead.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it will, as long as
He's
he's
getting
able
it.
to nail the fight here. Yeah,
Yeah, he
So
had
Mr.
a taste on
DNA.
pride.
now enjoying a slight lead.
This is Rockman 2, baby.
Yeah, this is how this game works, man.
This- Anything can happen at any point. Oh, since he's going to metal before wood, he could catch one more 1-up.
Yeah, there's one more opportunity for a 1-up at the end of this first screen, although it is kind of costly. Like, I think it might cost more time than Dog Scrolls saves in order to get that.
Oh, then yeah, it's over. No dog scrolls. Or maybe he's going for it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's really dangerous though, because like if you fail Dog Scrolls, like if you overzip, using the 2-item setup to get up the for that second item zip there.
Yeah, that 2-item setup is much tighter to get. And super precise. So Streamline
Right.
had
Actually
such a-
caught up.
Yeah.
He had a really good stage, and he's actually caught up with Mr. DNA already.
Nailed all the zips first try with pretty good setups. So that's the difference that actually having tight setups make. It doesn't look like a big difference, but during
Yeah.
a full stage like that, you'll save quite a bit of time.
All those little differences, they add up, right? And so again, we'll get a
Yeah.
route divergence in the latter part of these robots, but they will be converging back in 2 stages. So
Yeah, they have weapons to kill both of them, so it's a matter of preference. Ooh,
all right,
Mr.
I guess this is a moment of truth. We're gonna find
Yeah.
out. Mr. DNA having a little bit of trouble in that first screen, but able to deal with it with no problem. So Streamline is going with the flash skips. So
And he got the mini zip that you required to get, since you don't have enough flash to go through all the section. So you need that mini zip to make you go a little bit faster. Otherwise, the last dog would spawn and stay in your way. Oh man. Mr. DNA jumping very close to the spikes here. I'm quite familiar with dying to spikes there.
it's definitely a thing that can happen.
Yeah,
All right. So Streamline gonna be taking the instant death there, again caused by releasing your heat when you die. Only in a pit, I think.
Yeah, it might
I think
seem
if
that's
Sorry, go
that's
for it.
because you have to open a menu and swap weapons. It might seem like it's a time loss, but you actually wait a lot of time if you don't cancel the sound effect from that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if it did lose time, you still have to you still have to menu at least once in that section anyways.
Yeah.
Because in order to like extend your zip long enough to get to the ladder on the right. But
yeah, it's a very, I don't know how to explain it, but it's very fortunate that you have to menu and you can menu to heat at the same time. So you save time twice with only one strap. It's the speedrunner's dream.
Alright. So Mr. DNA is going to be using heat to kill the first of these dogs, and then presumably switching to flash after that. This is an alternative method of like ensuring that you have enough flash ammo to get through the section.
Yeah, it's a bit slower because you have to menu, but as long as
oh my goodness!
The double.
It's a Rockman 5 reference there.
He instantly went back for the 1-ups. He didn't even think twice.
Alright, Mr. DNA into the crucial part of this zip. He's pausing twice in order to make sure he gets to the ladder. Like, if you fall down there, then you have to die, and then if you didn't pick up a 1-up somewhere, then you're gonna have to just walk the rest of the stage, which is very slow, and in some cases, like, some runners might not even know how to do that section, right? Because they never even think about the possibility that it might happen. So this is a very close race right now between Mr. DNA and Streamline. Like, probably maybe like 20 seconds between them? Not even.
Let's see. I think it's about 21 seconds. Yeah, 21 seconds. It's really close.
Yeah, like, all that takes. If you fall down when you're trying to set up the second vertical zip in Wily 1, that's already 20 seconds right there, basically.
Yeah, it's not... You don't need to die or anything. You just need to make a mistake to lose 20 seconds in Wily stages. It's not... Like, if you get 2 large drops in the Wily 2 corridor with this cruise, that would be like 10 seconds of weapon refill.
It's not quite that. It's like a second and a half for a large refill. But yeah.
No, dude, it feels like so long.
It feels like a million years. Okay, so Streamline, very careful not to overzip there accidentally. So, like, there's certain ways you can leave that ladder that'll give you a zip state, and then you'll screen wrap and be screwed. Have to take a death.
You have to kill yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, he has a lot of lives, so he's not really worried about dying. Oh, Mr. DNA.
Got stuck in the corridor of shame there. It's too bad that you can't like screen wrap up and use that ladder at the top in the next screen. But...
Yeah, it would be great if you could. It would be a good backup for getting expelled to the left of the ceiling there.
Yeah, definitely worth mentioning that like the corner jump that Mr. DNA did to back it up, it's not very easy. Like in walking mega games, you don't have a lot of room to get around those corners when the when the ceiling is only 2 tiles high.
Yeah, missing that corner jump would lose him even more time and waste one more item 1 or maybe some item 3, depending on how he would like to back up that.
Alright, Streamline going to be looking to set up this item 1 zip here. Looks good. Oh, he Did I see that right? Did he like frame perfect trigger that?
Did I don't know. I've never.
It
seen
looked lower. It looked significantly lower than normal.
It didn't look right. That was scary.
Okay. So now Mr. DNA, I think he's going to be using item 2 to get through here.
Which is a good option. Like, it's a lot safer. And it's not slower than zipping. Zipping is actually slower.
Yeah. The only reason you do the zip there is because, like, the alternative is not using item 2 in Wily 1, which is slow.
Yeah.
So, again, getting the nothing but swish dunk there. Using item 1s to climb this area.
Yeah, that's...
You have the option to choose either like item 1 or item 3. So I think in this case, Mr. DNA has some item 1 saved up from taking all those drops and not doing the zip. And so he's going to use those and save his item 3 for Wily 4.
This boss is not very hard. It's... After you play this game a while, you have it memorized.
Yeah, you just have to know where everything spawns and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And I think you have a pretty big window to kill the blocks before you start losing time, so you don't even need to be super fast mashing or anything. As long as you kill them a little bit after they become killable, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know what the sort of like window is on that, but it's probably pretty lenient. Alright, so we are pretty much through Wily 3 here for Streamline, and Mr. DNA entering the stage. Which looks like it's a pretty significant deficit, but it's actually not. Because the stage is very short.
It's very short. It's like 40 seconds at most.
Oh no, Streamline showing off a 4-jump.
Yeah, dang.
We got 2 fish for Mr. DNA, the run is confirmed.
Run.
Alright, Streamline's going to be taking on Wily 4. Like, arguably, one of the hardest stages in any Mega Man game, I think. Like, this stage is ridiculous.
Yeah, it has a lot going for it. It has the same thing as the Clash Climb right at the beginning. So, but a little bit harder.
Oh my god, that was a spicy, spicy item 3 zip setup there.
Yeah, dude, it was so high. It was really risky.
Not getting the full checkpoint zip, but it's okay.
Yeah, the zip it's a little hard to get, actually. It's not super free. The window is not as big as some of the other zips you can do in the game. Those spike sections are pretty scary.
Yeah. Alright, Mr. DNA is going to be heading up into Wily 4. Alright, we got no delay scroll death from Streamline,
Yeah.
so we're okay.
Yeah, you can randomly die on that screen. And it's not really on your...
Another frame perfect zip! I think this is actually really bad.
No, you can be fine. You can be fine. Yeah, if you don't turn early, like you can turn in 2 frames, one that's closer to the wall and one that's closer to the little lamp thing, the nipple.
All right.
If you don't turn too early, you're fine.
Nailing the damage transfer and both doubles to get a really good boobing time.
Mr. DNA now going through the spike sections. Hopefully everything goes well.
There's only one left to go. Oh yeah, he uses item 2 for safety there, and then I guess he's going to be switching back to item 1 to do this zip. Again, taking it nice and slave. This is one of those, like, even if you weren't saving time with this zip itself, you would probably still want to do it in order to set up the fight correctly.
Yeah, setting up this fight without the zip, it's a lot harder. You would need to come from below with item 1, and it would lag the game a lot. It's not really an option, the zip. Oh man, Streamline pretty low HP. Okay, he managed to kill wood.
Alright, Mr. DNA also conserving both of his crash bombs, so we are good.
Oh, Streamline almost got Airman in the second cycle of the fight. Pretty low HP.
Alright, we got a closer match here. All it takes is one slip up at this point, basically.
Yeah, any mistake from Streamline still could be still could mean that Mr. DNA can take the lead. He should be fine though. He's fighting Meadow and Flash, they are not hard at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing you could do is, like, miss an item on Machine. Oh, sorry, miss a crash bomb on Machine.
Yeah.
But, like, his health looks okay.
First phase fine, second phase fine. Yeah.
Alright. Streamline looking like he could get like a 28-30 or so on a good alien fight. Mr. DNA again fighting air with Buster. So
which is not a bad option, but
yeah,
I think it didn't save any time compared to wood. So, Streamline going for the Alien 5 doesn't have a really great start for it. Yeah, didn't manage the 2 cycle, but he ends the fight just fine.
28-34. That's a pretty solid race time. Like,
yeah, it's not bad at all. Considering how many bad things can happen, it's not bad.
Ooh, man. I think that Mr. DNA has an E-Tank, maybe?
Oh, but he... Okay.
Oh, he doesn't even need it. Alright. That was a scary, scary fight.
Yeah, dude.
Mr. DNA could still PB.
Oh, man, nice.
His PB is 30-17, so if he does the zip here, I think he's got a chance.
Yeah, I think he can be maybe the sub 30. Let's go, Mr. DNA. Oh, this is a weird
setup that I haven't seen before.
Well, it works just fine. It
seems to have worked for
him. Maybe. Okay.
All right. I think he's still caught this fight. As long as he like nails the fight, he's gonna be PBing.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna be sub 30, but PB is. It's not a dream. It's a pretty strong reality right now. Let's go.
Good setups. Oh.
Going for
Stay safe.
safety.
Ooh.
He didn't need to be that safe. I think he was fine.
Oh, he's still
Oh!
PB'd by like a second.
Nice, GG.
GG to Mr. DNA.
He was a bit scared by the end of the fight. Could have saved a little bit more, but a PB is a PB.
All right. So with this, Streamline has now clinched his spot in the single elimination bracket. And Mr. DNA will be heading over to the losers bracket in order to fight the winner of Charlie Boy and Von Rufio. A match which I believe is happening today. Let me double check that.
Yes.
It's happening like
in around
3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah. Still have another match after that one. Pharaoh Pigman versus Princess Proto, the Proto Magical Girl. It's gonna be at 4:30 p.m. EDT, which is about as the match before finishes, right after. So stay tuned, guys. It's gonna be more matches today. So, I think we're done for now. So guys, don't forget to follow the runners.
Yeah.
I think that's
follow
it.
the runners. They did a great job. Follow Cassio, who was kind enough to help me on commentary.
Follow Colonel Fatso.
Don't do that.
He has been doing a really great job in grinding Rockman 2 lately. It's really fun.
Next Rockman 2 match should be in just under 3 hours. Reflect.
Yeah. You're gonna have some time to relax a little bit before the things get heated up again.
Yeah. All right. So I guess I'm going to sign off here. Thanks for helping again, and thanks also to Zelnus, who helped me on the first match.
Yeah, thanks for the Speed Gaming crew for making this possible, and thanks for watching, guys.